Hello and welcome back to Holistic Health. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that I think many mothers experience, but don't always talk about openly: the mental load of motherhood. When we think about motherhood, we often think about the physical tasks, the school runs, the cooking, the washing, the tidying, the appointments. But there is another layer that is often invisible. It's the thinking, the constant thinking, the remembering, the planning, the organising, the worrying. The mental overload is enormous. It's a checklist that seems to run quietly in the background all day long. Many mums are not only managing what is happening today, but also what needs to happen tomorrow, next week, and next month. And over time, carrying that constant responsibility can become exhausting. I think one of the reasons the mental load is so challenging is because it often goes unnoticed. We become so used to carrying it that it simply becomes part of normal life. We keep on going, we push through, and sometimes we don't realise how tired we are until our body starts asking us to slow down. I think we feel overwhelmed, tired, we have brain fog, we have digestive issues, poor sleep, irritability, anxiety, and we simply just feel like we've lost a little bit of ourselves in the busyness of life. Sometimes I wonder whether part of the reason so many women feel overwhelmed today is because we're being asked to do more than ever before. If we look back a few generations, life was not necessarily easier. In many ways, it was physically harder, but life was slower. There were fewer decisions to make every day, fewer notifications, fewer emails, messages, and less information competing for our attention. Today, many of us are carrying not only the responsibilities of work and family life, but also a constant stream of information entering our minds from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to sleep. We are connected all the time. And I know technology brings many benefits, but it also means our brains rarely get the opportunity to truly rest. Sometimes it feels as though we are expected to be available to everyone at every moment. And I think that comes with a cost. And I've also noticed that living in France is that different cultures often have very different relationships with time, rest, meals, and family life. In some places, there's still a strong emphasis on sitting down for meals, taking breaks, spending time outdoors, and protecting family time. And in others, busyness is often worn almost like a badge of honour. We're always celebrating productivity, multitasking, being busy, but we don't always celebrate rest. But rest is one of the things the body needs most in order to recover. And I think we have become so focused on doing more that we've forgotten the value of simply being. Now, we can't, of course, change our styles overnight, but we still have ways that we can help ourselves. Because I understand that we still have responsibilities, we still have jobs, children, families, and commitments. But perhaps we can start by creating small moments of space within our day. One thing that's personally helped me is learning not to keep everything in my head. As mums, we often feel like we need to remember absolutely everything. Every appointment, school activity, item on the shopping list, task that needs doing. But the brain was never designed to be a storage cupboard. And I think that writing these things down, keeping notes, using a calendar can help free up our mental space. And I find that when we reduce our mental clutter in our minds, it can really feel relieving. Another thing I find helpful is having a small morning habit that belongs to me. Not something complicated, not a perfect routine, just one small thing. And that you can listen to in my podcast talking about morning habits. For example, one thing I talked about in that podcast is my morning anti-inflammatory drink and my stretching, and it's just something that a little bit of quiet to start my day and makes me feel amazing. And I think they also remind us these little habits that we install every day. They remind us that we're people too and not just caregivers. I think that many mothers put enormous pressure on themselves. We want to do everything well, we want to be present, we want to provide healthy meals, we want to keep the house organised, we want to support our families, want to work, want to stay healthy, and somehow we expect ourselves to do it all effortlessly, and it is exhausting. So lowering the bar a little can actually be an act of self-care. Not every meal needs to be perfect, not every room needs to be tidy, and not every task needs to be completed immediately. Sometimes good enough really is good enough. And another question I think is worth asking ourselves is, does this really need my attention right now? Because many of us are carrying responsibilities that could be shared, delayed, simplified, or even let go. When we're already stretched, protecting our energy becomes important. I think recovery is something many mums underestimate. It doesn't mean taking a holiday or having a whole day off. It can sometimes look so much smaller. Be a short walk, a cup of tea in silence, a few minutes of stretching, reading a few pages of a book, sitting outside in the sunshine, listening to music, small moments of recovery. And all these little moments really matter. One thing we don't often talk about is decision fatigue. Mothers make hundreds of decisions every day. What to cook, what to buy, what needs organising, who needs what happens tomorrow. And this constant decision making can be surprisingly draining. This is why simple routines and systems can be so supportive. Preparing things in advance, keeping routines simple, and reducing unnecessary decisions. And I think it's very important to remember that looking after yourself is not selfish. We need to fill up our cups to look after others. And many women are incredibly good at caring for everyone around them, but we deserve care too. We deserve rest and support. And we deserve moments of calm and nourishment. We are in a much better position to take care of people we love when we take care of ourselves. If there's one thing I'd like you to take away from today's episode, is that you don't have to earn rest. You don't have to reach complete exhaustion before giving yourself permission to slow down. Keep these small moments of care, repeat them consistently, and you'll see the difference over time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Holistic Health.